Hello everyone! Today I will be filming a slime review. We have 6 slimes today to review. Wonder Dough, Citro Sludge, Sweet Fluff, Oozy Bulb, Color Putty, and Silly Sludge. So I think we'll start off with a good classic Color Putty. Now this is a classic putty. Everyone's got the Color Putty. Yeah, see, this is a real classic type of like silly putty. Very tough until you get it moving, and then it kind of softens up a little bit. It kind of feels like blue tack actually, but not as sticky. It's really not very sticky. So it's a little bit like how do I put this, like epoxy without the hardener is how I would put it. So this is a real classic. Not very much in there. Kind of very empty amount of putty, but I assume it's a little bit more expensive than the other stuff. You know, for $1, it's not that bad. So yeah, I would give this guy well, I'll rank him at the end. We'll see how I feel about the end, actually. Hold its shape, so if you form it into like a cone, you stick it on the ground, it'll hold the cone shape for quite a while before it starts to droop down and become one again. That was the Color Putty. All right, so for the second putty we'll review, I think we'll do the Mad Lab Oozy Bulb. So this one gets a 10 out of 10 for packaging. This is my favorite package out of the bunch. There's a bunch of colors that are available. I picked the purple one, but we'll see. Okay, so this is your classic, like, ooze, right? So this stuff, I mean, I'm not even sure I'm going to get it out of here. Oh, that's a delicious sound. This stuff is like, feels like almost watery. It doesn't, oh God. It's well, stickier, a lot stickier. It'll stick to you pretty well, but it'll stick to itself a lot better. So it's not gonna get like trapped in your unless you hit it like on the carpet or something like that. And this stuff is like, oh boy, oh my God. Okay, this stuff is kind of gross. This stuff it's not really got a whole lot of play factor to it, in my opinion. It's just kind of like, it's just, I mean, it is what it says it is. It's just ooze, right? It's not like a, it's not really like a, I don't know. It's just very watery. You know, you can't shape it at all. It doesn't hold a shape or anything like that. It just kind of flows and it's kind of does its own thing. So yeah, that's the light bulb ooze. Oh God. Oh, for fuck's sake. It just sticks to you. It's not very good. It's just very sticky and gross. And I'm gonna have to wash my hands after this, and this is probably terrible for the environment. Oh, what I can say for this kind of slime though is that if you add water to it, if it starts to dry out and you add water to it before it's too late, oh my God, you can actually rejuvenate this stuff into a fully workable slime again. You just have to act pretty quick, which is very useful. You know, if you want longevity of stuff, because this stuff tends to dry out pretty quick, especially when you get like your hand oils on it and stuff. It'll just dry right up. So the Silly Sludge next. I think this is going to be, if I'm correct, this is going to be very similar in consistency to our bulb of slime. It's not actually the same thing. We'll see. It's not the same company. This stuff is from The Toy and Jaru Jacksonville, and it's called Silly Sludge. There we go. Yeah. So this is pretty much the same stuff. It's just more of it. Little bit less sticky, a little less sticky. So I would say, oh my God. Yeah, if you like put it on its side, you look like, you know, radioactive sludge coming out of this thing, which is kind of fun. That's probably the main gimmick of it. So I would say a little bit more playability just with the packaging alone. This is a little bit more wet. This is a bit wetter. A little less sticky. Definitely probably got to dry out a lot. Like the fastest out of the bunches will probably dry out in terms of get unusable. So these are kind of gross residue in your hands. Again, it doesn't hold a shape or anything like that. It's just sludge. It's just slime. So yeah, that's Silly Sludge. Again, very similar in consistency to this stuff. A little bit. I think this is a little bit better though. Next up is our. We'll try Wonder Dough. So this is the first of these other Mad Lab things that are kind of slime or putty adjacent. See how it feels. Oh, this stuff is what? This is not what I was expecting at all. Okay, this is actually. Okay, I can get out of the bag. This will be good. Okay, this is strange. So this is actually like more inconsistency of like air dry clay. it's gonna be bouncy. Yeah, so this stuff is like bouncy. It's it holds a shape pretty well. If we give it a little test of like a long tube, will it hold it up? Yeah, okay. It's a little bit like elastic. It'll like form back to shape a little bit if you pull on it. And just in general, like I think this is it's not as tacky as this stuff. This feels like hard tack, or like, or not hard tack. This feels like blue tack or something like that. This stuff feels more like not Play-Doh, but like Play-Doh clay, like air dry plastic clay, I would say. Definitely much more playability than either the slime options. In terms of like what you can do with it, it's just kind of like a nice little thing. It's hard to get out of the box. It's a little bit. It's not sticky. I don't think. Like if we stick to the wall, it'll stay there, but it'll fall eventually. It's not really good. It's not really stickable. It doesn't really stick super well. So, but it'll stay there. It just won't leave a mark. Will still stain your carpet though. I pretty much can guarantee that. Also, the sealable bag. This bag is resealable, which is really nice. Next up is our Sweet Fluff. So we'll try that out. Okay. What? Oh boy, this is not slime at all. This is kinetic sand. That's what this is. Ooh, wow, this is gonna get everywhere. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make a mess of this stuff. This stuff is like, ooh, I don't like this at all, actually. This feels weird. Oh, what? It's like a little bit elastic. Oh god, there's a terrible residue on your hand. Kind of elastic, but not very much play. It doesn't really stick to itself very well. Like, kind of, but it'll just come apart again. If you crush it together, maybe. Not very easy to form. Kind of just falls apart on you. Doesn't really remold or anything like that. Okay, this is going back in the bag. Yeah, I don't know. This stuff is not very good. This feels like kind of gluey sand. But like, I don't know, like dryish sand, really. All right, so for our last piece, we have this stuff called the Styro Sludge. So let's open this guy up and see how this feels. So now this, if I gotta guess, it's like styrofoam, and oh yeah, this is no, this is not good. This is not. Yeah, so I want to say this is literally what it would feel like to like put styrofoams in slime. I mean, it is just, oh my, it's so messy. It's just so gross. It's like little beads in slime, but it doesn't, the balls aren't sticking to the slime, right? It's just, they're just in it. And so it's just repulsive to use. Like it gets everywhere. It doesn't feel good. You can't really knead it with your hands because it'll just stick to your hands. I'm just gonna throw this stuff out, honestly. This is nasty. And there's a lot of it too. It's like a surprising amount of it in this bag. This is how much is in there, right there. And I guess if you can get all the slime out, if there has like 60% less beads, then I would say this is definitely a good option. I mean, this is a little bit more playable. Like once you have it like this, all the slime out and connected, a little bit more. Once you have it like this, it's a little bit more playable. Once you have all the slime out and it's there, you can see there's a lot more in there than initially pulled out. Even some residue still in there, but like even as you can see, it's still just dropping beads like mad. This would be so messy. It doesn't stick to itself at all, which just makes it impossible to play with. You would need a bowl like this, and of course, it's not very conducive to a good play experience. All right, so now that we've looked at all of the slimes, I think we should kind of rank them in terms of what's the best and the worst of the slime bunch. So starting at the very worst, this fluff stuff is just terrible. It's like kinetic sand, but doesn't stick to itself well enough to be kinetic sand. So it's just kind of a mess. It's just not very nice. This Sweet Fluff from Mad Lab, not my thing. It's scented though. It does smell like candy. If that's what you want out of it. It does smell like candy, but it's just not a very, like they say it's smushy and stretchy, but it's not really. It's just kind of underwhelming. And maybe I didn't take enough out of it, but like as you can see, even in the bag, it just crumbles. It doesn't really come back together. I don't know. It's just not very good. So this is the worst then. For the second worst, it's definitely this stuff. This stuff, it's like a in between in terms of consistency's sake. It's in between what like this hard tack stuff and the slime. I would say it's an in-between between these two guys. But in terms of playability, these balls just, I mean, still on my hand, get everywhere. And they're just, unfortunately, just not very fun to play with. So I have to put this one at the second worst of the bunch. In terms of the next, I would say these two are the next least good. I'm going to put them together because they're just so similar. If I had to put one in front of the other, I'd say this one marginally better than this one. This one is just a little bit more sticky, gets on your hands, doesn't get off, just kind of gross. Well, this one sticks to itself, and since they have similar consistencies and similar, like, what you're going to do with them if you play with them, I would say this one's better overall. Now, between these two, which one takes the reigning crown? Well, I would say overall, this one is the best. This one, for slime or sludge, it's just classic Silly Putty. It is good, it's fun to play with, it holds its form, but it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit like, you know, it's just like Blu Tack, so it's hard to pull around. It you know, kind of hurts your fingers when you play with it a little bit. Just not the best. Whereas this one, very kneadable, very like moldable. It's got all the nice aspects of being shapeable like this one without hurting your fingers and just being an overall more fun time to play with. So I would put in the final ranking, it would go starting from left to right, worst, second worst, this one, this one, this one, and finally at the best is that Wonder Dough from Mad Labs. So yeah, that's about it for my slime review. Crowning victory right here. Those two, the Wonder Dough. Six $1 slime toys. All right, thanks. So bye.